My life is not theirs to play with, and the liars of the land always produce the lie that they have rights to play with someone's phone on their internet, to interfere with people's rights to eat, to mess with a person's health care or their physicality. And those people molested my life when I was at that shelter, and yet they get funding and food from a lot of places. The entire crew is now putting information into the community about my life that is not their lawful right to say, to speak about, or know. How many people in the world have private information? How many of you have ever lost a loved one? How many of you have ever understood how to grow a business to the point of full success that literally you are working in less than 20 hours a week? The people who are trying to play with me now are people who actually live at shelters and actually go into the Daily Bread Food Kitchen and play. The man who put his hands on me today inappropriately is a man who plays at having a mental illness. He tells everyone not to touch him, but he's allowed to put his stuff all over any person's chair, put himself anywhere he wants to, and he's a man of color and a rather large man. Does that give him the right to interfere with my rights to the freedom of my own being, the space of my life? When I record these audio casts, I'm thankfully in a quiet cafe. If there was other customers, I would leave immediately to show honor and regard to the gentleman who's allowing me to use his electricity for 15 or 20 minutes under the generosity of his spirit and soul to allow a man in struggle to produce more in life. You see, in life we have moments of time to prove who we are, not only to ourselves, but to the people around us, but most importantly, to the Lord God above all people. It's amazing how these players lie to themselves. The entire crew of those who molested me and got into my bags at the shelter just walked by me to say, "We are in power." You see, the liars always do that. The ones that steal from someone always come back around to show themselves. It's called a tell. I have been in the industry a long time. I know what marketing is about. I know what strategy and strategic partnerships are about. I know what my papers say to these people. But they are the ones that keep putting their hands in my property when I lay down to sleep, or if, because I have a form of narcolepsy, they think they have the right to ply their hands into my bags or into my buckets or to anything I'm carrying and put their hands on whatever the hell they feel like it. They have failed to recognize federal law. They have failed to recognize international human rights law. And there's always someone who's trying to decide whether or not they should help or not. But that's not the point. The point is that when we have moments of time to show ourselves, we must show ourselves before the Lord God in heaven, not before any video camera we might be using to provide people a person of interest information. When we call police, we violate the law. No one gives you the right to take a private citizen's life and make a monkey's uncle out of it because you think somehow your place is being imposed upon. How is that possible if you've just told someone it's welcome, that they're welcome in your place? You see, a lot of people play that game. They say, "Welcome, sit down, have a cup, have a do this, blah, blah, blah." And then they turn around and lie in a way that destroys a life. They do it because someone plied them with information. I'm in a place, I was here once before, where the loving girl understood my situation and did the most honorable, loving thing underneath God's house. She was going to throw something away because it was the end of the day, and she provided it to me out of a loving kindness. I've not come back here to dishonor that agreement. I simply have come here because I needed a little electricity, and I was being hassled by people outside this shop. When I came in the shop, I found myself in a safe place. And that's the point. Shops give us safety from the rain. They give us safety from the winter elements. But what's a miracle and amazing is that I can walk into a radio station where literally they will throw me on the air in a training without giving me any notice at all to see if I can handle myself on the air, and then they will steal my moniker. They will tell me I'm not welcome to the second training, all because some law enforcement asshole thought he'd walk around and talk about my life as if he knows my life. He didn't live my life. He doesn't know my life. And anything he might know about my life, he stole. You see, we have these problems in America where people literally steal themselves into positions, companies, and everything else. It's no wonder Trump is popular. The man's had 4 wives. He's got a brothel of women, and apparently men like that. I don't know about you, but as a man of God, I don't want to have multiple partners. I've had several partners in my life, is true. Different stages of my life, I had a long-term life partner. 4 years, then 20 years, and hopefully the next one will be another 20 years. But when the relationships fall apart, what happens? We look to our family, we look to our friends, we look to our business associates for a little compassion, a little care, a little love. But what happens if we lose our job because someone stole our life? What happens if we lose our opportunities because some liar is walking in the community and saying, don't hire that person, don't help that person, don't do anything with that? First of all, it's a violation of civil rights law. Second of all, it's a violation of mobility laws. Third, it's a violation of our Constitution. Fourth, it's a violation of international human rights laws. And most people in life don't even pay attention to those treaties. They don't recognize that as an American citizen or any citizen of any other land, they are expected to follow and respect those treaties of our nation's governments that have made that honorable agreement. It doesn't just apply to third world countries. It doesn't just apply to impoverished nations. It applies to our land as well. That anyone in America has the right to be safe and sound from the liars of the land who think they have the right to put their physical hands on another human being and pretend that there's an association. There's no association with me and any person in this town is pretty much true. Every attempt I've made to make a professional contact like I would do in my own community where I came from has been thwarted. The only place I've found help is honestly the Champaign County Tourism Conventions Management Company. That's probably not what it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but the reality is they did their job. They provided me information. But who did they provide the rest of my details to? In life, we have moments of time to show who we are in the world. If you're too dishonorable that you think you've got rights to screw somebody over, then by all means do it. But at the end of your life, you'll be standing before the Lord God in heaven, and he will be looking at you saying, what did you think you had the right to do to the plans that I have made for my child?